Hello and welcome to your relaxation slash meditation session, which is free. So please, if you enjoy this, use it as many times as you wish and share it with the masses as well. You don't need experience. However, if you do have any medical conditions that you feel would inhibit your participation, then please seek professional advice before you take part. There is a disclaimer attached to this video. There's a little snapshot in the description. It doesn't matter if you've had any experience before or not. This is a really simple way of guiding you into something that could help you relax, help with anxiety, help with stress. It's particularly good, this relaxation session, for sleep, so you may want to do this at bedtime or just before bedtime. If you have been to any of my breathing space classes before, this will be very familiar to you. This is the kind of thing that we do in there. All we're going to do to start with is going to sit and then we're going to lie down and we are going to go through a body scan. So the things that you will need is something to sit on. I'm just sitting on my seat because I'm going to be talking you through this one. I'm not going to be doing the lying down part. But when you're in your seated position, you might want a block to pop underneath your hip bones, or maybe just a cushion or a pillow, because you're going to sit in a comfortable position, ideally cross-legged, but it doesn't have to be. And then we're going to seamlessly go into lying down. So choose somewhere where you could do both of those things fairly comfortably without having to move around too much. When you lie down, you may want to be more comfortable and warm, so socks at hand, a hoodie or a blanket or a nice pillow, that kind of thing. You may want some water to hand as well, and you may also want to play some soothing music in the background as well. A playlist that I would possibly recommend is a playlist called Quiet by John Hopkins, which you can find on all of the media, the music streaming, whatever they are. So anyhow, let's get to it and let's stop blathering on. So we're going to sit in a nice comfortable position first. So ideally cross-legged, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to pop my hip bones up a little bit here, and I'm going to sit in a nice comfortable position. So wherever you are comfortable, then get yourself in that position now. We could even just be on a regular chair. You don't have to sit cross-legged. You just have to be comfortable. And then what I would like you to do is gently close your eyes. So if you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes completely, then maybe just softly close them so that you're gazing at the floor. And all we're going to do to start with is breathe. So closing our eyes, and all we're doing is just breathing. We're trying not to think too much about anything else. We're just focusing on our breath. And what I mean by that is, can you actually feel where your breath is? So as we sit here now, can you feel where that breath enters the body? Is it through the nostrils? Are you aware of the air coming into the nostrils, leaving the nostrils? Can you maybe feel the breath in your throat? Or perhaps you can feel the rise and fall of the chest, or indeed the stomach. And just noticing where your breathing is. So do you feel like you're breathing in short breaths? Or are you breathing quite deeply? Now I want you to think very quickly, and only for a few seconds, about things that are troubling you. So anxieties, stresses, pressures, uncertainties. Just very quickly allow those thoughts just to scramble around in the brain. And then I want you to let those go. And the way that we're going to let those go is we're going to think of things that we are grateful for. So we're going to take a moment of gratitude. So we're going to put our body and our mind into a position of thanks. So right now, think of 3 things that you are grateful for today. They could be tiny things. You might have had a hot cup of tea. You may have cleaned a cupboard out. You could have gone for a lovely walk. It doesn't matter what they are personal to you. So you think of 3 things, no more, no less. things that you are grateful for, and this just puts us in the right frame of mind for meditation, which quite simply is allowing us to take control of our thoughts as opposed to our thoughts taking control of us, and therefore manifesting itself in emotions that we would prefer not to have. So it's control, and a time where we can't really control an awful lot. And so we've had our moment of gratitude, and now I want you to set a small intention for practice. And what that means is, what do you want to get out over the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long we're going to be here for? Do you want to relax? Do you want this to help you to sleep? Do you just want to not think about things for a moment? Anything at all. It is personal to you, so you decide what your intention is, and maybe just repeat it a few times, almost like a bit of a mantra in your head. When we're in this position of meditation and relaxation, we breathe through our nose, so we keep our mouth closed and our breath comes in through the nostrils and out through the nostrils. Now what I want you to do is imagine that you're trying to deepen the breaths ever so gently. And the best way to do that is to take the left hand and place it on the chest, and the right hand and to place that on the tummy. Now what I want you to do is breathe deeply into the stomach and then out, allowing the stomach to flatten back down again. Breathing all the way out through the nose, breathing into the tummy, and just breathe in and out in your own time. Few rounds of breath, just breathing into the tummy and breathing out so that you're completely emptying all of the lungs. Sitting nice and straight if you can, posture's nice and straight, the back is nice and straight. Imagining that there's a string pulling the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, so you are tall. Your shoulders are down and slightly back, and you are breathing into your tummy. And as you breathe out, you allow that stomach to collapse again. You feel it flatten under the hand. Keeping that deeper breath, taking the hands, placing them wherever is comfortable, doesn't matter. And just breathing nice and deeply and trying to keep that breath deeper for the rest of this session if you can. Just breathe. That's all you have to do right now. Throughout the body scan, you will find that your mind will wander. That is perfectly normal. That's what brains and minds are meant to do. But each time it does that, I want you to acknowledge that your thoughts have gone somewhere else, and then bring yourself back to your breath. So acknowledge a thought, let it go, and then come back to breathing. Feel the air coming in the nostrils, leaving the nostrils. Being aware of the breath entering into the upper lungs, the lower lungs, and right the way into the abdomen. And just return your focus back to breathing each time your brain, your mind wanders. Sit up nice and tall, make sure that the posture hasn't collapsed. Gently squeezing the shoulder blades back slightly. And lifting the head up. But make sure the chin is tucked in a little. So lengthening out the back of the spine, keeping a nice long posture. And now what I want us to do is do some deep breathing, just a couple of deep breaths, and we're really going to push the air out at the end. And as we do that, as we breathe in, we're going to lift our shoulders up, so you can open your eyes to have a look if you wish, and I'll demonstrate. So you're going to breathe in, and you're going to breathe out and shove the shoulders down. Really sigh it out, push the air out with an open mouth. So again, together we're going to breathe in, shrug the shoulders up and out, let it go. And again, breathe in, sigh it out, let it go, let the shoulders flop. Lovely. Now what I want you to do is gently open your eyes and then put yourself into a lying down position. So lie flat on the floor or on the bed. Get yourself comfortable. It's classed as a corpse position, so you're completely flat. The arms will be down by the sides and the legs will be straight out, ideally. If you have problems with your lower back, then just pop a pillow underneath the knees. You might want a pillow underneath the head, and you may want to put on an extra layer because you're going to be lying flat for quite some time. So I'll allow you to get yourself in that position. And then I'm just going to settle back a little further into the chair. So now that you're lying down, again, bring your attention back to your breath. So closing your eyes and focusing on your breath. So keeping your mouth closed, breathing in through the nostrils and out through the nostrils. Breathing gently but deeply. And in this part of the relaxation, we're going to go through something called a body scan, which is a very prescriptive way of relaxing the body. I will talk you through all of it. The best way to relax a set of muscles is to contract them first, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So when you're ready, I want you to take your focus and attention to your feet. So being mindful of your feet, noticing how they feel, being aware of the touch of the skin to the floor. Noticing any sensations, pleasant or unpleasant. Noticing the temperature around your feet, around your toes. And then I want you to squeeze your toes, so clench your toes and point your feet and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze the muscles as much as you possibly can. Really clenching the feet and then relax, completely relax. Allow those feet just to flop and relax wherever they need to be. Taking our focus and attention now to the ankles, in and around the ankle joints, all the way up the shins, the calf muscles. Noticing the pressure of the calf against the mat or the floor or the bed, wherever you are lying. In and around the knees, so how do the knees feel? Any pleasant or unpleasant sensations? Perhaps noticing a difference between the left side and the right. Up into the thigh muscles at the front of the leg, quadricep muscles, and then round the back, the hamstrings, and just noticing how the legs feel. Now we're going to create some healthy tension in those legs. I want you to flex your foot. You're flexing your foot with your toes pointing up. And you're imagining that you're pushing the back of your knee into the mat or into the bed as much as you possibly can. And that creates tension all the way up the legs. Really squeeze both legs, squeeze, 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 squeeze the muscles, and then relax, completely let go. And maybe noticing that after you've contracted a muscle and then you relax it, there's a warmth that seeps into the muscle, a warmth that seeps into the tissues. You may notice already a very stark difference between how a muscle feels now to how it did just a few moments ago. And bringing the focus and attention now to in and around the hips. Hip flexors at the front of the hip. The hip joints. The butt muscles. The muscles of the very lower abdomen. The muscles of the very lower back. And now what I want you to do is squeeze your butt cheeks as much as you can. Clench them. Really squeeze, 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 squeeze as much as you can, and then relax. Just allow the buttocks to sink into the ground, into the bed, into the mat, wherever you are. And perhaps noticing now that there is a weight to the body that wasn't there before. You almost feel like you are sinking into the space that you are supported by. Bringing the focus and attention now to all of the muscles around the lower portion of the back, the very lower part of the spine, the muscles that wrap all the way around the body into the front of the pelvis, that create the abdominal wall in and around the belly button. And now what I want you to imagine is that you are drawing that belly button in, down towards the spine, and then really pushing the lower part of your spine into the bed, into the mat, into the floor, wherever you are lying. Really push and squeeze and push, squeezing the abdominal muscles, pushing the lower back into the surface, and then relax. And noticing any difference, any sensations, any changes of temperature. Now we bring our focus and attention to the diaphragm, right underneath the rib cage, and all of the muscles around the chest, the intercostal muscles in between each rib, attaching the ribs onto the sternum, wrapping all the way around the chest to the back, the mid portion of the back, the shoulder blades, and just being aware of this part of your body. Remembering to breathe. If your mind takes you somewhere else, come back to my voice. Come back to your breathing in and out through the nostrils. Now we're going to take a lovely big deep breath and really expand all of those muscles that surround the rib cage. So breathe in as much as you can, all the way down into the tummy, and hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it go through the nostrils. Bringing the breath back to normal. Bringing the focus and attention now to the upper shoulders, so the big meaty muscles at the very top of the shoulders, the upper trapezius. A stressy point for a lot of people. And just noticing how that area feels. How do your shoulders feel? Now we're going to squeeze those shoulders, so we're going to squeeze them up towards our ears. Really squeeze, 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 and then let them go. Just completely let them go. And allow the shoulder blades to sink into the surface below you. Bringing our focus and attention now to our hands, down to our fingertips. How do the fingers feel on the left hand? How do the fingers feel on the right hand? Being aware of where they touch the surface beneath them. How does it feel? Are they warm? Are they cool? And then we're going to create fists with our hands and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Lots of healthy tension in those hands. And then just let them go. Let them relax and go wherever they need to go. Let the fingers naturally curl in the position that they want to be in. Bringing our focus and attention now to the wrists, the forearms, the elbow joints, the upper arms, and just noticing any sensation. And now we're going to straighten our arms out and really splay our fingers on the floor as you are. Stretch, 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 squeeze, 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 and then relax and just let those muscles completely melt into the space beneath you. Remembering that if your mind wanders, bring it back. Just focus back on the task in hand, on my voice. Body is feeling heavier. Mind is calmer. Bringing And our focus and attention now to the muscles around our throat, the front of our neck, all of the muscles that attach from our jawbone right the way down to our collarbone, wrapping around the back of our neck, the spine at the very top, attaching onto our skull. And I want you to make an angry smile. When you do that angry smile, you bring tension, healthy tension to the front of the neck. And as you do that, I want you to push the neck into the surface beneath you. So making an angry smile, pushing back with the neck, really creating lots of healthy tension. And then let it go, just completely relax. Breathe. There is nowhere that you need to be right now other than here. The greatest time that you can spend is time on yourself, on self-care. Just breathe. Bringing our focus and attention now to the muscles of our face, around our eyes, cheeks, mouth, and squeeze them all together. Scrunch the face up, pout the lips, squeeze the nose, squeeze the eyes. Really, really squeeze, 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 and then just let go, completely let go. Imagine that the skin on your face is just weighing down toward the surface below, smoothing out any lines of worry. And as gravity smooths it out, it takes away all of the concerns with it. Just try and breathe. That's all you need to do. Focusing now on our jaw, bringing our attention to the mandible, so giving your jaw a bit of a wiggle from side to side, and then clenching the jaw as much as you can. Clench the teeth, clench, 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 and then let go. And now we bring our attention to our tongue and our mouth. And notice now, right now, where your tongue is. Is it pressed up against the palate? Is it shoved up against the back of the teeth? And really where we want to be is we want closed mouth, so the lips are touching, but the teeth are slightly open. And the tip of the tongue should be resting very, very gently on the roof of the mouth, or resting behind the bottom teeth. When we get stressed, when we are worried, when we are concerned, quite often without ever really realising it, we hold a lot of tension within our mouths. So just relax the mouth, relax the tongue, relax everything. You may feel really heavy. You may notice that your body has a heaviness to it. Perfectly still. Breathing nice, deeply if you can. Just nice, regular breaths. Maybe trying to extend the breaths a little in and a little out. Noticing the warmth of the air as it leaves the nostrils, and the cool of the air as you inhale. Should you be in bed and you want to go to sleep, now is the time to turn this off. Or should you want to carry on and rouse yourself along with me into a seated posture, then we're going to do that shortly. So as you are now, I want you to wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers. Keep your eyes closed. Or turn onto your side. It doesn't matter which side, you're going to turn yourself onto a side into a fetal position. And you're going to stay here for a moment, still focusing on the breath. Trying to let go of any thoughts that arise. Acknowledge them and then just let them go. You make the decision what to think about here and now. and you have decided to take this time for you, for your mind and for your body and for the greater good. The more you put into yourself, the better person you are to others, the more you can give of yourself to others if you have given to yourself. Now from this fetal position, again, keeping the eyes closed if you can bring yourself back up to a seated position like we were before. So ideally you're going to come to a cross-legged position. You might want to sit on a cushion or your block again, keeping the eyes closed but sitting nice and tall. So lovely and tall spine, really reaching up with the spine. So making sure that the chin doesn't come up as well, so the chin is still tucked in a little ways, but you'll imagine that there's a big string attached to the top of the head, the crown of your head, and it's just drawing you up, and the shoulders are down and back nice and relaxed. Perhaps the hands are in the lap or resting gently on the knees. And you're just breathing, you're focusing your attention on your breath in through the nostrils, out through the nostrils. Bring to mind now the intention that you set at the beginning of practice. It matters not if it happened or not. What matters is that you intended on making a difference. You've committed to this practice, you've tried it, and you've spent time on you, valuable time just on you. And just notice how you feel now in this seated position. Is there any difference now between where you were when you first started, when you first sat here, before the body scan? Quick scan through the body now, just notice any pleasant or unpleasant sensations. And maybe just have a word with yourself. Remind yourself that you are good enough. And that you deserve to take time out for you. Okay, we're going to bring our hands in front of us now, in prayer position, in the front of the chest, still with our eyes closed, and we're going to rub our hands together and create some heat. And then we take each hand and place them over the eyes. We look down ever so slightly, we open the eyes up into the cocoon of the hands. We keep our gaze looking down. We bring our hands back down to our knees, palms open. Thank yourself for taking part in this practice. Maybe encourage yourself to do it again in the future. And then when you're ready, we're going to take another few deep breaths like we did before with our shoulders, except this time we're going to circle our shoulders now. So we breathe in, we circle down and up and back, and then out. And breathe in, and out, and in, and out. And that concludes our practice. Thank you very much. Namaste.